So at this point in the parent meeting, we've talked about all of our different types of athletics. We've talked about what good things can happen from participating in athletics, such as building relationships, extending that into the educational purpose of our mission of our school. But with participating in athletics, there are some risks. So in this part of this parent meeting, we're going to go into some of those risks and what athletes and parents should know regarding these risks that are with participating with athletics. So to start off, you parents and athletes need to be informed of these possible risks and dangers related to the athletic activities. So that is our standard of care. We are making sure that everyone is aware of some of these risks. So with participating, obviously it can happen. So there's the chance of having injuries. We kind of talk about it as different grades of injuries. So we could have low grade injuries. This could involve bruises, soreness, or jammed fingers. So with any low grade injuries, you should talk to the trainer. But usually with low grade injuries, you should be able to participate and perform with your athletic team. Medium grade injuries could be sprained joints, deeper cuts, or bone bruises. These ones might require some more athletic treatment from our athletic trainers, but students will eventually be able to return to participation. We also have what we call high grade injuries, which are the very serious injuries, broken bones, torn ligaments, anything that could be serious, such as like a back injury or something. So we just want to make sure that we're taking all the necessary steps with getting them a safe and fast recovery. If any of these happen during participation, we make sure that we call 911. We have an emergency plan set up so that way all of these will be taken care of. We get ambulances, we get the trainer. We just make sure that we get athletes the care that they need in order to come back to participating. And then also with some specific sports, there are some injuries, such as wrestling. You can have ringworm or impetigo. So that's basically because of the mat. It's sweaty, it's dirty, they don't clean it that well. So there's a chance for skin infections. So just make sure that wrestlers are taking care of themselves. Any athletes that participate in outdoor sports, there is a chance that they could suffer from heat exhaustion, which just means that they're outside exerting their body when it's hot outside. And the tennis elbow, that could happen from tennis or golf, or Tommy John, which is throwing from your arm, and that could be from baseball, softball. So just some specific sport injuries that parents should be aware about. Another thing, big thing that all sports have been talking about is concussions. Later on in this meeting, we'll have a very specific part about concussions. So concussions can fall under any of these categories, low, medium, or high grade, depending on the severity. So what a concussion is: a bump, jolt, or blow to the head that causes the head to move back and forth rapidly. And then one thing that parents need to know is that concussions can happen in every single sport, not just those big sports like basketball or football or anything like that. It can happen in every single sport. So just making parents aware that concussions are possible. We have a concussion protocol. There's a form at the back of the table. We'll talk about it in a later presentation. So concussion protocol, we take all the necessary steps to ensure that we can diagnose what kind or how severe the concussion is, when it would be safe for them to get back to play, and all that stuff. So we do have a pretty rigorous concussion protocol that every athlete from every sport will have to follow. And then some symptoms: headaches, nausea, vomiting, balance problems, light sensitivity, memory problems. So if athletes have any of these symptoms, they need to make sure that they are contacting their coaches or their athletic trainers, because this is serious. We want to make sure that our athletes are safe when they participate in sports. So another thing that parents and athletes should be aware about, some of the additional risks of participation in sports: dehydration and fatigue. So dehydration can happen when the body loses more fluids than it takes in. It's obviously associated with physical exertion. So if you're sweating a lot, not drinking a lot of water, that can cause dehydration. Some symptoms could include dizziness, dry skin, or dark colored urine. Students need to make sure that they are drinking water during the day, not any other kind of drink. The best way to stay hydrated is drinking water. So students and parents, make sure that you're drinking water during the day. Parents, make sure your students are drinking water, have access to water. Another thing would be fatigue. Just putting the mind and body through a lot of exhaustion causes the body to and the mind to feel tired and have a lack of energy. The way to help this would be to rest. Like when you get home from practice, make sure you're resting, you're not doing anything else, and also to drink plenty of water. If you feel fatigued, make sure you try and talk to your coaches or your trainers, see if you can try and sit out or participate a little bit less during practice. So coaches will work with you if you're feeling fatigue. Another sort of risk, not a big risk, would be academics and missing classes. So occasionally, depending on some sports, athletes could have to leave school early for competitions. Um, when they do this, they could miss out on valuable class time and instruction. So, as our athletic program states in the handbook, we require all students to make up anything that they're going to miss during class. So that students are responsible for making up anything that they're going to miss, whether that be the lesson, whether that be the homework. Students need to talk to their teachers, work through that, make sure that they're getting caught back up. So, because you would miss some of this class time, your performance in the classroom can be affected. But I think that our teachers and our coaches, they do a good job about making sure that if athletes have to leave early, they're making sure that they request them, talking with them, making sure that they get caught up. We want students to be successful, and a lot of our teachers and coaches will make sure that they have what they need to be successful in the classroom. So, not as big as a risk, but it is possible. So, some athletes could struggle and have risk of missing some classes for athletics. And then some other little things that we're going to talk about. Um, every single parent should have insurance to cover athletes. So before, when you get registered online, parents, you need to have insurance that will cover your athlete. That way, if they do get injured and they have to go to a hospital or something, you do have insurance to cover for your athlete. Um, Athletes need to get physicals every single year. This is just making sure that they are safe and they're healthy enough to participate in athletics for whatever reason. We just need that every single year. Um, Another thing is to have your emergency contact information updated and on file. So when you register, you need to make sure that you add that just in case something does come up. We are able to contact you and anyone else that is on that file if something does happen. So that way we can cover all our bases and get a hold of you if we need to. Another thing is we go through and check our equipment in our facilities every year, every day. So we are making sure that they are safe enough for your students to participate. If something is damaged, like equipment wise, or something is not correct with our facilities, we make sure that we update that. And that we are just making sure that everything is safe for your athletes. Lastly, is COVID protocols. There's a form at the back of the room. So we have the contact tracing. We've been doing that. And if students do get COVID, there's contact tracing, all that. You sit out for quarantine for 7 days. So anything related with COVID, we have a form in the back that you can reference for any of that. Um, Most importantly, athletes and parents, they both need to notify coaches or the athletic trainers of any illness or injuries. That way, we are just aware of these things. We can take care of it. We can stay on top of things. So, if someone is injured or sick, we need to know. That way, we can help them. So, if there are any questions about risk or participating with athletics, make sure you contact me. This is all my contact information. Um, Thank you.